Hey guys, Smart Ninja 000 here. Today we're doing something a bit different. We're doing another tutorial. This is going to be on how to use uh slash execute store. Really, it's more of how to get the values you want to store. So we're going to start it off. This is going to be done completely. You can see everything. We want to make it so we want to find out how many diamonds are in a certain area. And now this is just a weird example. But something like this, where we need to get a number, it works out really nicely. So say in this little coal clump, we want to find out how many diamonds are in this. So first thing we want to do is add a scoreboard. So we're just going to add a scoreboard and we're going to call that store. You want a better name than that, and it's going to be a dummy type. Next thing you want to do is get the coordinates and just kind of have them standing around. Now what we need to do is we need to do two things. First off, we want it so the diamonds don't go away after you do it once. So we're going to fill this. We're going to fill this with, we're going to fill it with diamond ore, and we're going to replace sponge. Now the reason is we're going to actually have to fill it with sponge, and you'll see in a second why. So what we're going to do is we're going to do an execute store. We want to store the result. The difference between result and success is if the command works, it's success. It will give you a 1 or a 0. 0 meaning it didn't work, or 1 meaning it did work. Result stores what you got. So we're going to store it in the score. We're going to do add a. Now it's called store. This is the objective name. So yeah. Now you want to run a command that will return you a number. Like, for example, a fill command, which fills sponge, replacing diamond ore. So you press the button, you'll get a nice 5, as there's 5 diamonds. Press it, we can get some more maybe in. To go up to 7. We can maybe break some, like a few diamonds. Go down to 3. And you can see it works really intuitively. And this is a great little way to figure out, well, how many diamonds are in X area, how much of certain block is in certain area. And the reason is really simple. If I were to run this command without the execute store, which is the fill, you're going to notice it's going to say filled 13 blocks. So it's returning us the value 13. Now if I run this, it's going to give us 0, but once I run it again, it'll give us 13. So what it's doing is it's storing the value 13 into our objective. Now you can do some more complicated stuff with data get. We're not going to go into that for today's video. But if you want this, if you would like to figure out how you would do some really cool stuff with this, feel free to leave a like and I might do an updated, more complicated tutorial on this. This is just bare basics storing into scores. So another example of something you can do is clearing a player of their items. So for example, here we have 0 diamonds. If I run the command, you'll notice we do get a quick value where it does show us how many diamonds we have, which eventually goes down. And you can actually see it then gives it back to me. If you didn't want this, that's totally fine. Now remember, if you do it the first tick, you can actually see exactly what their score is, and of course store it somewhere else. But you can see we have 64 by just using a simple tell command. If I give myself a lot less, if I do 16, it should say 16. If I even do something as simple as 2, run 2, 0 even works. And of course this works with any amount of diamonds. This is literally infinite. The only limitations would be, I can just do this, couldn't I? The only limitations would be how many diamonds you can actually store in your inventory, which you can see we had apparently basically 2400, 2300. This might take a while. Of course, if you wanted to speed it up, you could always add a few extra of these twice as fast, or change that if that might have broken it. We're not going to get exact exactly the right amount, but you can really stuff up by just doing something like that. It's going to be really broken because I forgot to some things, but we'll eventually get what we should have as our diamond account. And of course, you could use a crazy amount of functions. Doing something a bit like this, you can make it a whole lot faster just by doing some basic, making it do 100, then 10, 1. You could even go up to 1,000. Obviously, you can do every single possible number. Useless to do that, but this is pretty fast, and of course, now, I don't want to get too complicated, but you can do some cool stuff. You can also do some stuff with boss bar. This is a pretty basic but common example is to based off of player's damage. So if I were to effect give myself some poison, the it's well my boss bar, and if I were to bump it up a bit, you can see it works exactly as you would expect. It's really great, honestly. A bit more. Actually, I don't know if it will increase once it reaches that point. But it works awesome. And of course, it's completely aligned with my heart. The way to do this is pretty simple. It's just storing a result into, instead of a score, we're doing it in a boss bar, which you can do with basically everything as well. We want to store it in the value. You could do the maximum amount, which could be like someone else's health over your health. We want to get their health. Now again, I'm not going to go into deep details about how to do the data get. If you do want a tutorial on that, leave a comment below, and of course, smash that like button, guys. Go. A few last things. There is a get for scoreboards. So it's scoreboard players get user objective. And that's really useful if you ever need to store something like an objective inside a boss bar, etc. And honestly, this is incredibly easy, incredibly useful. If you have any particular examples you might need some help with, feel free to join the Discord server. Link in the description. We have a channel dedicated to that. And of course, you can leave a comment below, and I'll do my best to help you out. It's not really too complicated. Few things to note. Sadly, if I remember correctly, you can't store strings, which is kind of sad because you could do some pretty crazy stuff if you could. So you can only store integers. I meaning negative and positive numbers. Maybe decimals. I don't know. I don't remember. Just mess around with it with yourself. I don't think you can, just because everything seems to be revolving around not being able to. By that I mean scoreboards. You can't really. I mean, there's a lot more I could go into about it, but honestly, these few examples will probably help you out a lot more than anything. If you have a particular thing, again, feel free to leave it in the comments or join the Discord. Follow me on Twitter, and of course, if this tutorial helped you in any way, be sure to click the like button to help me out, for helping you guys out. Anyways, that's it. Thanks again for watching, and I'll see you in another one. Bye, guys.